Blue Lock fans, brace yourselves. New chapter has just dropped a bombshell. Reo Mikage, once seen as the ultimate support player, has officially awakened as the copy king, scoring a miracle goal that left even Nigeria stunned. But that's not all. This chapter also dives into the emotional past of Nigeria's ace Onazi, setting up a face-off that might define the U20 World Cup. If you're ready to break down Reo's ego evolution, Onazi's origin story, and the clash that's about to shake the field, then stick around. Let's dive in. This chapter opens right where the last one left us hanging, the double Bachira formation. At first, Nigeria's captain Kuso tries to read it, but the fluidity of the movements make it impossible. Bachira is unpredictable on his own, a dribbler who plays with rhythm, freedom, and an almost chaotic tempo. But when Reo steps into sync with him, mirroring every movement, every feint, every beat of Bachira's flow, it becomes chaos squared. This is Blue Lock at its finest. Unpredictability turned into a weapon. Nigeria's backline hesitates, unsure which Bachira is the real one to stop. That half second of confusion is fatal because it buys Isagi and Rin the space to advance. But here's the twist. Instead of passing the ball to either of them, Reo breaks character. He doesn't play the support. He doesn't look for the safer option. For once, Reo shoots on his own. And in that moment, the copy king's ego is awakened. Reo's shot isn't just any shot. He channels Chigiri's explosiveness, but instead of sprinting, he translates it into a strike. The ball arcs at a perfect 44-degree angle, curving through the air like a predator pouncing on prey. Red Panther Sniper. The name alone tells you it's not just a copy, it's an evolution. Reo doesn't just mimic, he assimilates. He studies, he adapts, and he perfects. This is what makes him terrifying. The Nigerian defense is frozen. The goalkeeper dives, but it's too late. The net ripples 2-0. Japan doubles their lead. But notice Reo's reaction. No celebration, no wide grin, just quiet focus. He isn't satisfied being part of the team. He isn't satisfied with sharing glory. He's thinking about something bigger, about being the one. This is the Reo who once said he wanted to live with Nagi by his side. That Reo is gone. What we see now is the copy king who wants to outshine even the ones he admires. Ego has replaced dependency, and that's dangerous. The stadium is silent for a moment, then erupts, but on the Nigerian side, doubt starts creeping in. 2 goals down against Blue Lock feels like an abyss. The defenders exchange uneasy glances, and even their captain Kuso looks shaken. This is where Blue Lock does its psychological warfare. It's not just about goals, it's about crushing belief. Japan has momentum, and momentum is oxygen in this kind of match. Take it away and you suffocate. But Nigeria isn't done, not yet. The panel shifts and we are pulled into a flashback. Legos. 12 years ago, a young Onazi sits in an orphanage, separated from the other kids. He doesn't talk much, doesn't play, doesn't laugh. He's an outsider. But football changes everything. When kids tease him and kick a ball at him, he dodges with ease. Then instinctively, he dribbles past them smooth, effortless, natural. It's like the ball belonged to him. The other children stare, stunned. This is Onazi's awakening moment. The boy who didn't fit in suddenly finds belonging through the game. And standing beside him, Kuso, who reached out a hand, invites him into the family of football. From there, Onazi bonds with orphanage kids, especially Kuso. They form a brotherhood, one built not by blood, but by the love of the sport. That bond is why he plays with such fire. He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for them, for that orphanage, for the family that football gave him. Back in the present, Nigeria is wobbling, but Onazi steps forward. His aura changes the pitch. He calls out to his teammates, telling them to believe. His words cut through the doubt. Believe, it is alright. I'm here. It's more than a statement. It's a promise. Onazi is not just a striker. He's a leader, a brother, the heart of this team. His presence anchors Nigeria, reminding them of their strength, reminding them that this fight isn't over. And right when the chapter could end, on that note of inspiration, Isagi shows up. Ego meets ego. As Onazi declares his presence, Isagi fights back. His words mirror, but twist. In your now, I am here. This is classic Slursagi. When Onazi speaks as a leader of unity, Isagi speaks as a lone warrior. He doesn't fight for family, he fights for himself, his dream, his ego. And yet, those clashing philosophies create the perfect storm. What we are seeing is the beginning of the duel that could define this arc. Chapter 316 isn't just about the goals scored, it's about laying foundations. And there are 3 big foreshadows baked into this chapter. Ryo's copy-king title is more than a gimmick, it's a challenge. By stepping into the egoist role, Ryo is essentially saying he doesn't need Nagi anymore. This foreshadows a clash down the line, Ryo versus Nagi. Will he prove himself superior, or will Nagi remind him why he was the genius? Onazi represents something Isagi isn't. Unity, family, playing for others. But he's still an egoist in his own right, just in a different flavor. This sets up a thematic rivalry. Their I'm Here clash isn't just about football skills, it's about ideology. Who defines what it means to be the hero of the pitch? While the spotlight is on Ryo and Isagi, let's not forget Rin, Bachira, Chigiri and others watching closely. Every awakening creates friction. Ryo's growing ego might fracture Japan's cohesion later. Egoists don't share crowns easily. Ryo's 44-degree Red Panther sniper isn't just a goal, it's a declaration. In Blue Lock, every new weapon symbolizes a shift in character. For Ryo, this goal represents his transition from depending on Nagi to selfish egoist. And here's the kicker. Unlike Nagi, who creates miracles naturally, Ryo forges them by studying others. He's the human embodiment of Blue Lock's philosophy, the ability to adapt, copy and create something new. That's why he's dangerous. Because if Ryo can copy and refine any weapon, then theoretically he could evolve into the most versatile striker Blue Lock has ever seen. But ego is a double-edged sword. The same hunger that pushes him forward could also isolate him from his team, foreshadowing conflict within Japan itself. The final image of this chapter, Onazi and Isagi standing across from each other, both declaring I'm here, is goosebump material. It's the kind of cliffhanger Blue Lock thrives on. It doesn't just tease the next play, it sets the emotional stakes. From here on, it's not just Japan versus Nigeria, it's Isagi versus Onazi, ego versus unity. 2 leaders, 2 philosophies, 1 pitch. And with Ryo stepping into his egoist awakening, the battlefield is more crowded and more unpredictable than ever. And that's Blue Lock chapter 316 in all its glory. Ryo has stepped into his ego, Onazi's past gave us glimpse into the heart of Nigeria's team, and now the battlefield is set for an Isagi versus Onazi clash that could rewrite everything we know about Blue Lock. What did you think of Ryo's copy-king moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you're hyped up for next chapter, and don't forget to subscribe for more Blue Lock breakdowns every week. Until then, keep chasing your ego.